If you're a chronic overthinker in music production and you follow all these 4 things, you'll be golden. Most producers, including you, are controlled by overthinking. Whenever you produce, maybe halfway through you actually producing the song, you start to get all these racing thoughts and you begin to overthink, which leads to you closing the project. But just think back to whenever we first started producing. It almost felt like a video game, right? It was just pure fun and there was no overthinking whatsoever. Well, by the end of this video, we're gonna bring you back to that mindset so that you can continue to have fun and not overthink in music production, but also so that you don't get complacent and that you can continue to upgrade your skills every single day. I remember when overthinking in music production was more of a problem for me a few years ago. Whenever I start to produce a track, every single time I'd obsess over creating the perfect track, and I'd overthink about the smallest details that don't even matter. Like, oh, if my friends see this, will they like it? If I send this in the Discord server, are they gonna, what type of feedback are they gonna give me? Should I use this synth instead of this one? All of that stuff, the stuff that barely matters. And the thing is, I thought I was being productive by overthinking. I thought that overthinking was going to lead me to becoming a better producer, making more tracks, but clearly it's the opposite. I mean, maybe you can relate. Whenever you're overthinking, it's almost like all of the creativity and the flow state that you could be having is just completely blocked. And removing this perfectionism, this overthinking, is one of the best things that you can do as a producer because it's literally removing an obstacle from your journey. Now, this video is about to get interesting because I'm going to show you a quick project and I'm going to show you the stuff that changed my life. If you watched my video since the beginning, you probably recognize this. This is from my 8-bar loop into a full song video. And whenever I was producing this project while recording the video, I was overthinking like crazy. Just getting all these thoughts like, oh, maybe you should use this synth instead, or maybe you should just quit because this is gonna go nowhere. Like at the time, my mind was just analyzing every little thing that was wrong with the track. And this isn't the best track I've ever made, obviously, but now I love it. The thing is, this track wouldn't even exist if I listened to my overthinking and my perfectionism. Just think about that. This track would not exist as well as that video. And obviously it's not that I'm gonna get complacent and never improve my music, but I published a video showing how I made this track even though it was flawed, and it brought me results. It brought me hundreds of subscribers, a few thousand views, and it was honestly like really relieving. Imagine if I just listened to my overthinking and my perfectionism and just stopped recording, stopped producing the song and didn't publish the video. Then all the results that I gained from publishing that video and creating this track would be gone. They wouldn't even exist. And I want this to be the exact same thing for you, where you get results. Now let me ask you a very important question. If you were to completely remove all of your limiting beliefs, all of your perfectionism, and all of your overthinking all at once, how far would you be now? How many hours would you get back? How would your music sound? How much more efficient would you be? And in my experience, you get the best results whenever you have the courage to take imperfect action. All right, welcome back. Welcome back once again to the whiteboard. I genuinely just want to help you as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to illustrate, or I'm going to try my best to illustrate what goes on in my mind to stop overthinking in music production. Hold up, let me adjust that. There we go. So first one, very, very simple. It's having no judgment towards your music. Now, obviously, if you're producing for clients, for example, you probably want to have a little bit more judgment towards your music because you want to give them what they want. But sometimes it's literally just as simple as not having any judgment towards your music and just not thinking about it as best as you can. Okay, so just think about it like this. So we have some walls, right? These are the walls. This is overthinking, judgment towards your music, etc. And in between these walls, we have a wave going through them. That's your creativity and stuff like that. Now, every time one of these waves of creativity go through one of these walls, it almost gets filtered down. So every single wall here, you're overthinking, you're judging your music, it just kind of gets filtered down, right? Now, obviously, this can be completely necessary sometimes, but every now and then, especially when you're struggling in a time of overthinking, what if we just remove these walls completely. Like, we tried our best to just not think about it and have zero judgment whatsoever towards whatever we're making at the time. And with absolutely zero filter, it's almost like everything just starts to flow a lot better. You start to be more creative and stuff like that. And eventually you'll start to find that this becomes a normal practice, which is extremely useful. Let me erase that real quick. Here's another one. This is the real game changer here. At least it was for me. And I really hate to break it to you, but your music isn't precious. And I know it probably hurts to read this because you like your music and whatnot. And obviously you shouldn't just go selling your music and giving it away for free and letting people steal it. But just let me explain. I'll draw a little illustration here. So let's say this graph is over 1 year. And at the beginning of the year, you make a track. That's supposed to be a music note. And at the end of the year, you make another track. And of course, in between all this time, 365 days, you're going to continue making tracks and leveling up your skills. As you make this track right here at the beginning of the year, let's just assume it sounds really, really good. You're gonna think it's the best track ever. But the thing is, in between all this time here, you're creating more and more tracks, which is just leveling up your skills over and over again. And eventually, at the end of the year, you're gonna make a better track anyway because your skills are more developed. And then basically the cycle just continues. I mentioned this in my last video. Within the next year, you're going to make better tracks anyway. Your skills are gonna be better, and you probably won't even be thinking about the track you made a year ago. And if for some reason you are, just remake it with the new skills that you have. This is actually something I recently did, but I'll explain that in another video. Now, if this makes you feel sad in some way, I understand. But at the same time, it's actually a beautiful thing because it literally means that you'll always be learning, you'll always be improving and creating more ideas, and you'll be creating better music every single time. So number 3, I'm not sure how to write this one, so I'm just gonna give you an example. So let's say every day you have to go somewhere, and to get to that place, you have to go across some type of bridge or something like that. So this is the bridge. And the first day you go across the bridge to get to your destination, it looks a little sketchy. You don't know if it's gonna fall or something like that. You don't want to go across it. You begin to overthink, right? So one day you go across it, but everything's fine. And the next day you do it again, and again the next day, and the next day. You get what's happening. Essentially, over time, you start to build out this pathway in your brain, and you start to know what works automatically with your music. Now, obviously, the last thing you want to do is become formulaic with your music and just make the same thing every time. But over time, especially when you're trying not to overthink, it eventually becomes easier and easier. So this could honestly just be called getting your reps in, or I don't know, practice. Very basic stuff here. The last thing is just to export your music anyway, or publish it or whatever. Prove your mind wrong. Just export it. Get some feedback, get some results, publish it, whatever. Prove your mind wrong. Once all these results start to come in, then you'll be like, oh, so maybe it wasn't that bad after all. Maybe I shouldn't have started overthinking. I swear there's this phenomenon that happens where your least favorite tracks are the ones that other people like the most or are the most successful. Even for my own videos. A few months ago when I started this channel, I was having doubts about it. And there's one video in particular, it was the making music in your head video. I liked the video, but I honestly thought it was going to be the least viewed because it wasn't hyper edited, and I felt like I wasn't really speaking clearly during the entire video. But lo and behold, during that month, at the time, it became my most viewed video. It gave me results, and this completely proved my overthinking wrong. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that you should export and publish every single track and sell every single beat that you've made, but you get what I mean. Your track could literally be a gem and you don't even know it. Just think about that. It's insane. If you're a chronic overthinker in music production and you follow all these 4 things, you'll be golden. I promise. I did it myself. It's not perfect for me yet. I still overthink every now and then, but it's way, way less. Okay, so it's about a day later after I recorded that original video, and I completely forgot to record the outro. This is my outro, I guess. But anyway, thank you for watching. I have 1 minute left on my camera, so if you want to, check the links in the description. I'm not even gonna explain what it is. I think you'll like it. And please subscribe so I can retire my parents. Anyway, make music now, and you'll thank yourself later. Peace.